What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Gotham Season 3, Episode 1, Better to Reign in Hell. And I'm going to be honest, it's kind of ironic. The first show that returned for, the fall part returned a few weeks ago in Fear the Walking Dead, at least the shows that I watch. And it's probably the one I was looking forward to the least. I mean, not a good start to the second season, and picking up where it left off, it still hasn't been good. So I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting for the rest of my shows to return. A lot of them are returning this week, but the first one to return happens to be Gotham, which is such a mixed bag for me. It's not one of my favorites, it's also not one of my least favorites. It's somewhere in the middle. And part of that is because there are some really good things about it. You've got, first of all, it's a pretty fun idea. You're looking at Gotham pre-Batman. So, you've got younger Jim Gordon, you've got younger Bruce Wayne, you've got younger Alfred, younger all these people. It's a pretty fun idea. They haven't really done anything crazy with it yet. They haven't done anything surprising. They've pretty much gone kind of what I was expecting. The first season actually started off pretty slow, and then once they picked up a bit, it really got going. I'm like, okay, the story's actually getting pretty good right now. And the performances are really good. The guy playing Jim Gordon is good. Obviously, Oswald Cobblepot is probably one of the best things about this show. And if you haven't heard anything about it, I'm surprised, because a lot of people are talking about it if they've seen the show. So there is good things about it, but there are also some things that don't really work. And one of those was not in the show for a majority of the second season, and now is back in the show in Jada Pinkett Smith's character, Fish Mooney. I was not looking forward to seeing her again, and for the most part, it wasn't as bad as she has been in the past. Like, it was just such a forced performance in that it felt like she was trying so hard to be this intimidating, crazy comic book character. It felt really forced. And a lot of these other characters that are playing comic book characters feel more natural. It feels like they were born to play these parts, whereas she has to overdo it almost, and it becomes very cheesy when you compare it to some of the other performances, which are really good. So anyway, I wasn't looking forward to her returning. As far as the story goes itself, it ended on a strange note at the end of last season. Like, where could they go with this? What could they do with it? You've got all of these sort of monsters escaping from Indian Hill, and there's a lot of potential there, but the question was, were they going to live up to that potential? So far, I would say they've done a good job. I wouldn't say they've done a great job. I think there are some things they could do a bit better, but I think they've got a pretty good idea going. First of all, you've got Fish Mooney leading all of these. I don't like that. I didn't want her to be a big part of this season. She's already a big part of this season. That's got to stop. I'm sorry if you like her. That's your own opinion, but I just do not like her acting in this. I hate how every single time she talks, she's got a finger raised. It feels like, it's so frustrating to watch. It's like, you gotta stop. You're overacting right now. It's very cheesy. It feels like you're forcing this performance. Please stop. You can be crazy without trying to. I don't think that you can talk to me like that. And that every single movement from her is so stiff, because it's like she's trying to be like, I'm in control. So yeah, that's going on. The escapees themselves are fairly interesting. I wish they would explain a bit more about their powers. They explained a couple of them, and some of them were kind of, it was obvious. One guy, he touches somebody and he grows, the guy that he touches grows really old. I'm just like, okay, I understand that. Another guy's got bat wings growing out of him, which, is that Man-Bat? That would be pretty interesting if that was Man-Bat. The character I know from Arkham Knight, but yeah, that would be pretty cool. And then there are a couple others. One looks like kind of a Quicksilver Flash type character, runs really fast. The other one just looks like I don't know, the one that was with the Quicksilver looking one. I don't know what her thing is. I guess she's really big and strong, maybe? I don't know. They didn't really explain that one. They had one that looked kind of like an early version of Killer Croc at one point at the beginning of the episode. So they've had all these different characters, and I think they've done a good job with the creativity there. Some of them maybe not as creative, like obviously the one that runs really fast. Oh, we've seen that before. But they've got a good little set to go with. Jim Gordon, I think, is probably my favorite part of this episode. At the beginning, I was a little bit worried because he goes to see Lee, which is what we left off with. I'm like, yay, she's coming back. And then they bring her back just to show that she's with another man. I'm like, oh, okay. And at that point, I'm a bit worried. I'm like, really? Like, what was the point of that? But he's not a cop anymore. Now he's kind of a bounty hunter, like working to bring in these escapees from Indian Hill. I kind of like it. First of all, his character he seems a lot more of a badass this season so far. He has been in the past, but this one, like even his little one-liners that he's delivering, they're really, really good. It sounds like he grew this badass set of testicles. Like I don't know how else to explain it. He just sounds a lot more awesome. It's a lot more fun to watch him. The stuff that he's doing now is just so much more fun than seeing him go, oh, I don't know if I should do this. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I'm a cop. I can't disrespect the badge. And all of these things, that we were dealing with for the first 2 seasons, all that's gone now because he's not a cop anymore. So he's just kind of like, I don't care. Like, the reporter comes in, starts asking questions like, are you really going to preach to me about morals? He's like, nah, who am I kidding? And gets up and then uses her and himself to like play into Fish Mooney's hands because he knows what's going on, and it's all very clever the way he sets it up and explains it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for him, but it sounds like he knows what he's doing. It sounds like he's very smart when it comes to this stuff. He's not just flying by the seat of his pants anymore. So that's a lot of fun to see. I will say I wish that he'd win a couple more fights. He kind of won the first one by luck. A truck comes out of nowhere and hits the guy. He loses the next couple, and then one of them he like half won, half lost because they stole Ethel Peabody, but at the same time he captured the Man-Bat. So it was kind of like win and a loss at the same time. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Jim this season because so far it's really good. Bruce and Alfred get back from some sort of trip, I guess, to explore what this company that is running his company, the group that they were talking about at the end of last season. They went to get information on it. He goes into the boardroom and pretty much says, I know that they're here. If you want to talk to me, you have 24 hours to contact me or else I'm releasing all this information to the public. To which the lady in charge, I guess, told this other guy to go get him to talk to him, which they kind of made it sound like she was telling him to go kill him, and then he just chloroforms him and kidnaps him. So obviously they do want to talk, which is, I'm interested to see where all this is going. But I love the scene where he's sitting in the boardroom and that one guy is just like starts laughing like, conspiracy theories? Really? We don't have to sit through this. And I was like, yes you do. And just totally shuts him up, sits him down, and just like, yes. And then it ends with, so, pancakes, Master Bruce? He's like, pancakes. And just like, this is funny. I enjoy some stuff like this. We also got the introduction of, I guess, Vicky Vale's mother, Valerie Vale. Really, I mean, it wasn't bad, but the name Valerie Vale, just, it's almost like they wanted to be like, get it? It's Vicky Vale's mother. It's in your face. They could have made it a bit more clever. The fact that she's a reporter, and the fact, her last name is Vale, so mother or aunt, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. It was kind of in there. I guess she's going to be the Vicky Vale of this show. She's going to be a reporter that sticks her nose in way too deep and all this stuff. But yeah, she's not bad by any means. She kind of feels like a pawn in this episode, so maybe she'll be more important as the season goes on. But for now, she's serviceable. As an actress, she's good. She's not anything Uh, she's not like a poor performer, but as far as her character goes, she's just kind of in there for the sake of some of the story. So interested to see where it goes, though. Interested to see how she gets utilized in this story. Um, Kind of maybe setting her up to be a romantic thing for Jim. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it feels like that's where it's leading towards. And then you got Penguin. He busts up the show at the beginning when Barnes is talking to the media and says, Fish Mooney is out there. She's the one we need to be going after. Um, and so now he's sort of in the midst of it. He and Butch go to the club that Barbara and Tabitha own, and he tells them, look, I can provide protection. Butch sends in a guy to show them that they need protection, and then they just kill him. it was all kind of straightforward. Like, you could probably predict that, yeah, this guy comes in, tries to take over, and I'm just waiting for Tabitha to come out of nowhere and kill them. I was waiting for it. But I do enjoy, like I said last season, I think the character that they've given Barbara now is actually really enjoyable, whereas she used to have no character at all. She used to just be like a blank face, like whatever. Now she's actually a bit crazy, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that she has something to do. She's not just, oh, Jim, oh no, I gotta be Jim's girlfriend, and now I don't know what to do anymore because Jim, and Jim. Yeah, that was really, really bad. Now it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to watch. Tabitha is just kind of there for right now. I think Barbara's more important into this story than Tabitha is. Penguin himself, though, it feels like he's a wild card right now, because on the one hand, he wants to get to Fish Mooney, and that's why he offers the $1 million on her head. But then also you've got that kind of thing with Tabitha where she killed his mother, so that's kind of a thing too, and I don't know if they're going to utilize that very well, but they've got a few interesting stories going on there that they could do very well. And then the final thing to talk about is Selena and Fish, because, at first Selena is shown in the club as Penguin's talking to Barbara and Tabitha. She steals his wallet and then goes into the alleyway where she gives money to the clone Bruce. I don't know what that's about yet. Hopefully they talk about it in more detail in the next coming episodes. But anyway, she's in there with Ivy and talking to her about, hey, I know, I'm doing some other stuff that's going to make me some money. And Ivy's like, what is it? I can't tell you. The next scene we see her with Fish Mooney. It's like, oh, that's the thing. I wonder if they're going to talk about how that happened, how that worked, because Selena has to know that Fish is really, she sees a lot of this stuff going on, and you could see she's horrified by it, and yet it feels like she's still helping her out. I'm kind of confused on that. Selena's been shown to want to be a part of anything that involves money. I don't know how this involves money. This is Fish Mooney with a bunch of other freaks that escaped from Indian Hill, and it feels like there's no profit in it for Selena, so why is she doing this? If Fish Mooney is controlling her, that would be one thing. That would make a lot of sense. But we didn't see that. We didn't see that happen. And on top of that, what happened to Bridget? I can't remember how that ended at the end of last season, but she and Firefly were, friends, and it looked like they had escaped Indian Hill together, so where are they now? What's going on there? What happened to Firefly? Is she out there somewhere? What's going on with her? There's so many things that they didn't explain here that I'm hoping it does get explained later. What happened in the 6 months that we didn't see that led to Selena Kyle is now a part of Fish Mooney's little posse type thing. So, overall, I'm going to say it was a good episode. The main problems I have with it are Fish Mooney's the first one. It was very cluttered, and I'm sure, you could probably feel that if you really watch. Even though a lot of it centered around Fish Mooney and her army of the Indian Hill escapees, that was the focus of the episode. But there's still so many little backstories going on with all of these characters. You've got a backstory for Jim. You got a backstory for Bruce. You got a backstory for Selena. You got a backstory for Fish. You got a backstory for Lucius. You got a backstory for Harvey. You got a backstory for the reporter. You got all of these things going on in their personal lives that it almost kind of distracts from the main story, which is the Indian Hill escapees and how to deal with it and how to stop Fish Mooney from creating her own army of these monsters. So, yeah, it's a bit unfocused right now. Hopefully that's just for the sake of, okay, this is the first episode in the new season. Let's explain stuff. If that's the case, that works. I'm fine with that. But if this is how it's going to be, if it's going to be, okay, now we got to follow these these plot lines, and we got to follow these plot lines, it's too much. It's way too much going on at once, and it feels like what the first season had a lot of issues with, which was too many stories going on. Second season really trimmed it down. They managed to make it really focused to where even though there were a lot of side stories going on, the side stories connected to the main plot, and it all worked out. So, yeah, that's the other problem I have. And then I think the final problem would just be the lack of explanation on some of the stories. And some of it may be explained later, but it feels like, the Selena story, I don't know if that's going to be explained. It doesn't feel like it would be. But I would like to see more about that. I would like to see more of what happened. Yeah, there's still a lot of good stuff, though. A lot of great lines, I thought, in this episode. Some of the ones that stood out to me were the Jim to Penguin line whenever he's like, I'm surprised you haven't gone after Fish Mooney. He said, you haven't made it worth my time. I'm just like, ooh, okay. Yeah, that was pretty good. And then I think my favorite line out of all of it, Penguin goes to see Nigma, which is another side story going on. Apparently they've been talking to each other at Arkham Asylum. But he goes in, gives him a puzzle box, which he instantly solves, even though it's supposed to be like unsolvable. And then Penguin starts asking him, what is Fish Mooney's plight? What is she trying to do? And then Enigma's just like, I don't know. But there's one thing you need to remember. And makes like a little paper mache penguin. He said, Penguin always eats fish. I'm just like, that I enjoy that. I like that. That was good. I like that. So yeah, there's a lot to enjoy about it. Just some problems they hopefully will solve as the season goes on. But we'll see how it goes. First episode back is promising. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So those are my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did I not talk about you would like to talk about? What things that I touch on that you have a different opinion on? All that stuff. Let me know. We talk about it. Leave a like and subscribe for future Gotham reviews, and I'll see you at the next episode. Peace out.